A warm welcome. It's Cosmica talking about the full moon in Capricorn in this video. So, our topic today is about Saturn's moon. Saturn is the dispositor, the ruler of the zodiac sign of Capricorn, and Saturn is the god of time, patience, take it easy kind of planet. And for some, taking our time, taking it easy isn't hard. Well, look at the world that we're in. It's all about get up and go and do. So this full moon on the 10th, maybe the 11th of July, depends where you're located on a gorgeous planet, that this full moon is occurring at 18 degrees in Capricorn. So Saturn, this it's a very misunderstood planet. It's now stops, it's about borders, it's no's, it's death, it's, if you want something, all of a sudden it's going to be a no. You know, that's the reputation of Saturn. But it has more depth and sophistication than that. Saturn is a planet of time and patience, and time and patience is something we're not geared for. And when we're going through something laborious and tedious, it takes time. For good or bad, the wisdom of Saturn is we have to take a beat, we have to take some time. So this full moon can feel very contradicting in our go, 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 go world on the 10th, again, maybe the 11th of July 2025. And that can be, for some, quite inviting when we just get to, chill, everything's good, let's just sit back and relax. And for some, it can feel very heavy and weighty. And that is also something Saturn can make us feel like everything's very weighty, like we're carrying the world on our shoulders. So, whatever side of the fence you're sitting on emotionally at the time of this full moon, whatever you're going through, I send you much love, big cosmic hugs. If you're going through a difficult time, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. So, we're going to take a look at the chart and the Capricorn full moon, and we are definitely going to be factoring in where Saturn is the ruler, the dispositor of this full moon is, which will give us more depth and a holistic understanding of what might be playing out at the time of this full moon. Okay, yes, we are going to cover the full moon, and it's a mundane astrological full moon astrology video. I'm talking about the the world. That's what mundane astrology is. It's about everybody. Big job, huh? Very Saturnian. Okay, so before we get into that, excuse me, I'd like to reflect on the last full moon, which was in Sagittarius. And that last full moon, astrologically, you could see it in the chart, it really did pack a punch. The ruler of the full moon is Jupiter. Jupiter rules the zodiac sign of Sagittarius. It's exalted in Cancer at the moment. And being the ruler of that full moon in Cancer, closely configured to Mercury, those two planets, they're not buddies. So I knew, astrologically at least, that this full moon wasn't going to be an easy one. It was all about everyone standing on their moral and ethical soapbox. It's about debate, structure and order, law, courts, judgments, air travel, the horse racing industry, the royal family I threw in there as well. And on reflection, after that full moon, some things did happen that I delineated about that full moon in Sagittarius that come to pass. On June 12, unfortunately, Air India Boeing crashed and 275 people lost their lives. And Mercury, the planet of travel, closely configured to Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, the zodiac sign of travel, and them not being buddies, it really did speak quite loudly that something unfortunate would be going on regarding air disasters or air concerns. And that unfortunately did come to pass. Much love to all the people that lost, no doubt, very important souls in their lives. Much love to you. June 10, getting closer to the 12th, in LA, they had the LA immigration raid protests going on. Unfortunately, that was quite dreadful to witness on TV. And Donald Trump, which is the president of the United States, deployed federal troops. Again, law debates, Jupiter next to Mercury, about morals and ethical, topics and subjects in society and people fighting back against it. And that happened. And Donald Trump laid down his anvil of power. He made a judgment call, and that played out with the LA riots, unfortunately. Very much connected to the morals and ethics of Sagittarius, for sure. On June 14, and I mentioned the royal family coming up. And yes, and King Charles celebrated his official birthday. That was interesting. I was like, oh, okay, yep, right, that makes sense. Domestic violence talks in Australia completely escalating and ongoing. And, we can only hope that there's going to be some laws and rules changed about domestic violence and abuse, whether it be emotional, physical, or financial. It's psychological. It's still abuse. That's the end of it. And those domestic violence talks and debates in Australia are very much in the forefront and still ongoing at the time of that full moon. And lastly, in Australia as well, because I am in Australia, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese officially opened a new airport, a Jupiterian. Incredible. So and there was a lot that did come to pass, for better or worse. The astrology was quite loud, as above, so below. Whether we believe it or not, well, sometimes things happen and play out in mysterious ways, but the astrology can give us a bit of a lay of the land. So now we're going to talk about this full moon in Capricorn. Okay, so for me in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia, it's happening in the early morning hours of July 11. So it'll be playing out June 10 for others wherever you're located on our beautiful planet. It's at 18 degrees. So if you have any natal planets, and if you listening to this, you're like, oh, yes, I'm interested in astrology. What's going on in the Capricorn moon? Go check out if you have any planets around 18 degrees of Capricorn. And that full moon's lighting something up where there's a peak and achievement, an emotional acknowledgement. You now see something for what it is emotionally, for better or worse. This is not a full moon where we put our heads in the sand. No way. And it's ruled by Saturn. Okay, so Saturn's the dispositor. So we need to look where Saturn is, and Saturn's currently transiting in Aries. And Saturn's in fall in Aries. So we've got an unresourced, if you will, like a foreigner in a foreign place. That's what a fallen planet means in astrology. It's unresourced, it's in an environment, we don't speak the same language. And so we've got a fallen Saturn in Aries going, oh, I'm not like you. And that means that planet Saturn is not like the ruler of Aries, which is Mars. I'm not like you, Mars, which is about being very conflict driven, taking action, not thinking before you take some sort of leap forward with blind faith. I'm not like you, Mars, where it's all about just being very, very forceful and being very, very acute in taking acute, swift action. Saturn is about time, being patient. So we're like, well, time and patience. Some people don't. Some people's clocks are running out. Some people, unfortunately, are waiting for organ transplants. Some people don't have the time to be patient. We understand this, and that's not a great position for anyone to be in. So Mars is all about taking action now, and Mars is, for better words, in control of Saturn. But we've got a well-positioned Mars in Virgo. Mars functions really well in Virgo. In fact, Aries and Virgo have a secret connection through the Contra, Antisha, and Antisha astrological technique that astrologers use. They do have a secret understanding and relationship. So I like that in itself. I'm not getting all techie, but I'm just like it. And so even though we've got the ruler of the full moon on display in Aries, Saturn, not well resourced, going, oh, we need to take our time and not just load the bullets and fire them. We need to take it easy. Well, Mars is really well positioned in Virgo, closely configured to that south node in Virgo. They're only 7 degrees apart, actually. So this full moon in itself, it's actually trining Mars and that south node as well. So we've got an easy flowing connection, but Saturn's actually squaring the moon of of Capricorn at 18 degrees in Aries, but not by degree. It's very, very in the early degrees of Aries. So I like that we've got, even though Saturn's a bit lost in translation, for better words, Mars being the ruler of Saturn and Neptune and Chiron, that are all in Aries, is functioning really well in Virgo with the South Node. So that means that we'll be really aware of the tools, Virgo, intellectual, intelligent tools on this full moon of what it's going to take to purify and cleanse things that we know need to go, or what we can bank on, what we can depend on. South Node represents what we know to be of reality. We've been there, done that. That's South Node. And Mars is there, sort of like the intellect's on, if you will, going, hey, we know what tools it's going to take to clean and cleanse and purify rubbish. And we're going to be patient because Mars is in that Earth zodiac sign of Virgo. So the full moon could be a little bit worse, if you will. Saturn being in fall in Aries on resource, but the the dispositor of Aries is Mars, well positioned in Virgo, and Mars is more patient and deliberate. And that's this cool our jets kind of position at the moment, which bodes well for us at the time of this full moon when we're talking about mundane astrology. So the moon is only bright because it reflects the sunshine, and we've got the exalted Jupiter in the sun sign and the sun in Cancer, and it's sextiling Mars and the south node in Virgo. So this is really quite helpful with these aspects. And so what can we expect with this full moon? Well, I like to think of the full moon happening on the 10th, 11th of July for people, what I think can be, for better words, revealed, because the full moon does. It reveals something that has been otherwise concealed or hidden from view. We now know something, and it's a public declaration, or in our own personal worlds, it's an emotional achievement moment where we go that, aha, I get it. Oh, it's taken emotional, intelligent tools to get where I am. So I know what I know, and how do I move forward, and what I need to clear and cleanse and purify to get the best results for me. But in the mundane sense and what's going on for the world, this looks like a really healthy public declaration, like a paper about health, education. Also, I think this is good for people, or in people being resourced in some way, be it financially or with health services. So I can see a lot of health coming up here at the time of this full moon. Things to do with health improvements, health grants for people, people having access to health products and services and expertise. Looks really, really good for that. I want to talk about Saturn, and it's interesting because Saturn is the dispositor of that full moon, and it's so closely configured to Neptune, and we've also got Chiron in Aries as well. And so the full moon, again, being very repetitive here, and I apologize in advance. The full moon is that peak achievement moment. So we may also be experiencing, a stop or a delay in war or conflict. So something's coming to light, for better words, where we're all going to, basically kill each other or push that big red button, but it's going to be no, we're not going to do that. And why is that? Because Mars in Virgo goes, look, we've been here, done that. We know to slow down. Mars in Virgo, take it easy. Because we can see, around the corner, there's going to be complete annihilation and we don't need it. We don't want it. So let's just cool our jets here. So I like this for public declarations of we're not going to go forward with our efforts, if you will, to carry out war or hard nose to people and stop them from feeling emotionally secure within their homes, within whatever's going on in the world stage at this time with that Sun and exalted Jupiter in Cancer. So I think this means positive. You're talking about Capricorn as traditionally known as the moon's in detriment. So the moon is unresourced in a zodiac sign it doesn't understand. It's far away from its environment. It's cold, if you will. It's in Saturn's sign of Capricorn. It's nothing nurturing or emotional about it. And when you start taking a step back, looking at the astrology chart with the planets and aspects and the dispositor Mars ruling that fallen Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron and Aries, I can start to see from my own subjective point of view, astrologically anyway, that this full moon's actually quite nurturing and nice. I think we're going to see some almost like big 360 turnarounds with people in governments or museums or people that run lands that are in control of masses of people. I can see a really nice turnaround, something really positive for us. Again, could be teaching, health industry, something like that. I think is going to be quite beneficial. I sincerely hope so. I really do. We could all do with big, big hugs at this time in a world that just demands function, go, go, go. Mars is going, yeah, in Virgo, closely configured to the South Node in Virgo. It's like, yeah, but just consider the Earth. Consider that we need something stable, and I think that really, really balances out Saturn's fallen component in Aries and the Moon being unresourced in detriment in Capricorn at this time, because that that Moon is trining Mars and the Sun and Jupiter in the moon sign. We've got this buoyancy from Jupiter, which is about more structure, creating order out of structure, society, the people, being very aware of what we're growing. So I think it's a real checking in point when people are really stopping before they push that red button and throw down an anvil of judgment. I think we've got a less aggressive full moon on our hands, which bodes well for people. And that's what the moon represents. It's the people. So that's my astrological 2 cents worth on the Capricorn full moon. So, in your own experience, what's going on for you in your natal Capricorn house? What house is it in your natal chart? Where something you thought was going to possibly be really quite hard or um, almost really challenging and feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders, now you come to some sort of emotional um, acknowledgement or resolution, if you will, that you can let go and let be, and things aren't as urgent as you may have anticipated. I think it's a quieter moon for ourselves personally and for the world. I think it's going to be a quieter full moon. So that's my take. I sincerely hope you cleanse your crystals, have your moon bars, stand in the very beautiful, luminous moon's rays, ruled by Saturn, the god of time, planet that's all about wisdom and patience. Patient. chill, everyone. Deep breaths. Come on. Let's just relax a little. So that's how I see this full moon on the 10th/11th of July 2025. Hope you have a lovely full moon. Until next time, you guys stay cosmic.